Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. I am your host, Mike. Ba-bam. Glad to have you with us. We're here to kick some butt, take some names. Hey, Rammer. We're just going to hop right back in here. We were pushing this quickly because we wanted to get to fight that dragon. No, I didn't set up my filter. Crap. We can do that real quick. Well, we'll get a little bit of it set up, I guess. Maybe just highlight some things we want in particular. Hello, the Grim Reaper TV. How's it going? I'm doing pretty good. We're gonna dive into the Fall of the Emperor here. If this is your first time joining us on a dev stream, please shoot me an @ when you if you've got a question, and I will try and get to it as quickly as possible. And yeah, all of the proceeds from any of the stream stuff we do, bits, cheering, subs, donations, all that sort of stuff, that all goes through our charity goal. So we send everything to a charity stream, or we pick a new charity every month, and this is, I believe, the last stream of the month for this charity. Yep. So next stream we'll have a new one, but right up here you can see the goal. I was adding on 25 every stream, and you know, I feel like that's a reasonable goal to have. Sleepy Z 92, yes he did. Just chilling at work watching the stream. Well, glad to have you with us. Here, let's... Oh, that's the ladder board. That's what I hit, Shift F. Is it the other shift? It's only the other shift. Oh no. I'm just crazy. I hit L, not F. Because I'm a weirdo. Alright, create new filter. Volatile zombies. I feel like she's purple. You know, there we go. I'm gonna recolor. I'm gonna make them stand out. I don't even know what I'm looking for exactly right now. I guess we want to have any item that has minion stuff. And really, let's just see if anything with class specific, like acolyte idols on it, right? Damage. Is there minion damage here? Minion damage. Say with at least 3 of them. Greater than or equal to 2, greater than or equal to, say 8. That'll really emphasize items that I think might be more interesting to us. I just saw the red over there. I'm like, health potion. If only it didn't start when I need to put my youngest spawn to bed. Yeah, we try and put it at a time where people in like highest population regions that we have activity on are going to be around. Australia is still waking up, I think. say just 2 of them. Just to be sure that it actually triggers. Make sure I didn't do something with like no suffixes in it or something. I think it's smart enough to recognize that though. I haven't played an act. This is the first Acolyte I've played in like 3 patches. I don't know. It never. There hasn't been much new in the Acolyte that's really gripped me. Up until the Volatile Zombie, which I'm really stoked about. I'm really stoked on. I swear I know other words than stoked, but we are. I'm really excited about some changes that are coming to Sentinel next patch. There's a couple new skills that are going to be sweet. We just started implementing a new throwing ability for them, which is going to be awesome. When can we expect next patch? I don't have an exact deadline for you. But I mean, generally in our regular cadence. So, oh, we've got our first resub. I think this is our first resub ever. That's awesome. Master Sword 1291. Thank you for the resub. 2 months running. Lovely. That's awesome. Yeah. that's neat that we have a resub. Yeah. Oh, we got another sub here from Ozmax. Welcome. Thank you very much, sir. Or madam. Or germ. I don't know what you are. But thank you very much. And, oh, you already resubbed. Uh-oh. Sorry. Sub for 2. Oh, yeah, there we go. 2 month streak. There we go. Nice. Heavy Gaming TV. Love it. That's awesome. Way to go, guys. Thanks. I can't remember what I was saying. When can we expect next patch? That was the question I was answering. Yes, the general cadence, we're sticking to that, so please don't take this as gospel, because I don't actually know when it is, but I think that puts us in either late August, early September. I think that's where it would put us. It might be, I might be off by a full month there. Go check the dates on the last few patches, patch notes, and do the math. It'll be more accurate than whatever I just said. Hello, Master Sword. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's the. Oh, it's the message that goes with it. I understand. Yeah. See, I still getting used to a few things, but that's great. TGIF to all indeed, Master Sword. I do love doing these streams on Friday. It feels great. I mean, I don't think we were ever at... Maybe we were at 2 months for a while. I don't think we're going back to 2 months, though. I think that seems too fast. Will the patch be as big as the last one? There's a lot going into it. There's a lot of new content coming. I don't know if it'll quite be as big, because I don't think we're taking quite as much time this time. But there's a lot. There's a ton of work happening on multiplayer right now. And like a lot of people that used to work on not multiplayer stuff have started working on multiplayer stuff. I mean, that's been happening slowly for years, but it's really ramped up. Hello, Vermilion Nico. Glad you're having fun. Thanks for your support and thanks for being here. Are the updates to the crafting system next patch? Maybe. If we can get them to a point where we're happy with them. It's one of those things where we're never going to release it until it's better than whatever we have now. Releasing a side... I almost went up the stairs and I didn't this time. I remembered it's this way. Releasing a, like, it's different but it's no better isn't really what we're looking for. We're looking for better. So we'll be doing our best to bring our A game with the new crafting stuff that we're working on. There's a lot of things to consider, and a lot of them aren't really that obvious either. Quite often, some of the things that are like really important to consider when working on a crafting system just seem like they shouldn't even exist, or like I don't know. It's hard to explain, I guess. Like we were talking about adding in like different runes and glyphs the other day, and just certain things that like seem really innocuous have really big impacts on like how difficult crafting is and how difficult like achieving a perfect item is. So it's oh, quiet. You're gonna have to do a lot of squats. I think is what it is. Just saw that question. I saw that clip. You better start practicing squats. Just get toned. Yeah. Thank you, Scavrox. We try our best with the communication, so I really appreciate that you are taking note of that. If you're going for a 3-month cycle, it'll be late August. 8/4 November, which is mean 9 we have 1 month later to still hit this year. There's some math, Llama. Yeah, we're looking at that math too. How do the devs feel about where dot builds are in the game compared to hit crit builds, specifically in regards to endgame content, empowered monoliths, high-level arena runs? I mean, I think that it would be better if it was a little bit more competitive. There's a few of them that are really strong, though, I think still. I know... there's some tools in a few of those toolkits that aren't working as we'd hoped they would. And it's really important, I think, that different builds can do different things differently. So I think it's really good that I think it would be really good if, say, and I don't necessarily mean this exactly, but say hypothetically, like there were builds, like maybe dot builds in general, were really good at doing arenas, but hit crit builds were really good at doing, let's say, like super and high-end monolith, high corruption builds or something like that. And I think it would be cool to have different builds being good at different things, because like eventually we'd like to like expand into like more in-game systems and having, I don't know, possibly leaderboards for different systems. Still work in progress there, but it would be nice to see different types of builds on the tops of different ladders. So like, I mean, that already happens with hardcore and softcore, so you'll see different builds, you'll see safer builds on top of hardcore leaderboards, just because people are putting not dying ahead of dealing more damage usually, which is great to see. Having that different playstyles and diversity with different game modes and different challenges, I think is really cool. And the same with SSF, you see different builds there too, because they can't be reliant on specific items. You have to be reliant more on specific skill combinations, or maybe easy to find or easy to craft items. Do you like where crafting is? A question from Nopelios. Do you like where crafting is right now in terms of strength, risk, and reward? I think that, so overall answer, yes, I do. I really like it. I think that the the general difficulty to get good items through crafting is in a really good spot. I think the emotional roller coaster that you go on the way there has a lot of lows and not a lot of highs, which I think is the problem. And if we can flip that to a lot more highs and a lot less lows, I think it would be a much more successful crafting overall. But we are intending to, with the crafting changes we've been working on and talking about and discussing for the last year, one of the main goals we have kept through that is that the overall chance to achieve items at different points in the leveling process and in the like end game and how many tiers are in those items and all that sort of stuff stays relatively similar. And it's not always exactly the same, but is at least comparable. And so maybe it's the new system might be a little bit easier to get like all T3 items, but harder to get all T5 items. You know, something like that. And I'm pulling numbers out of my butt here, but like at least be similar and comparable, rather than being all of a sudden it's unbelievably easy to get all T5s, or all of a sudden it's almost impossible to get all T5s. You know, things like that. And we really like the crafting system working itself into the game with drops. Oh yeah, that's starting to become a significant amount of gold now. We keep increasing that number. But so for example, what was I saying? In this most recent patch where we made it so that it's easier to craft on items that are found in a better state initially and harder to craft items from scratch. And that's really intentional. We really want to have items be found and then crafted on to make them like just push them over the edge to make them be exactly what you want. And that's also represented when we introduce exalted items. We want people to be able to, like the super high-end gear, we want the first step in that to be finding it and be like, okay, I just found something that's awesome. There's that, like, oh, that's great, I just found that sweet thing. Now let me try and like use the crafting system to push it into really epic territory. And losing that item along the way is not fun. Yeah. Alright. After debating, I swear to Spriggan. I don't think I ever said elemental. Did I ever actually say elemental? Better be debating, I swear to Spriggan. I see what you're saying, sorry. You should start squatting now. I've done 100 squats in a row. It sucks. You gotta work up to that. How the heck do I get skeletal mages? I have been stuck in the first ascendancy and now I'm level 18. Oh, okay. In the campaign, when you're partway through the story, Pete. I see what you're saying. You're an acolyte and you're trying to get to necromancer, because necromancer is summon skeletal mage. You need to have at least 20 points in acolyte first off, and then you will unlock. See, it says right here, requires completion of the mastery quest at the start of chapter 4. So in order to get points into Necromancer, you need to complete that mastery quest at the start of chapter 4. If you press escape, this character is actually apparently still in chapter 4. It'll tell you what chapter you're in. Hope that helps. I think I may have highlighted items that can't exist with the loot filter. This is actually interesting. I was talking to someone on the forum about, maybe it was the Reddit possibly, suggestions of like, I know I didn't pick an exact item type, but if you do have an item type selected, having it be smart enough to gray out the things that can't exist on it, and I think that was a really good suggestion. If we can do it, I'll push for it. Ooh, there's a unique up there. I'll take a unique item. It's a ring. Could be good. My monolith completion is stuck at 13 of 20 despite completing 10 of 10 normal and 5 of 10 empowered. Is this a bug or am I missing something? It's probably a bug. How you guys feel about being compared with other games in the action RPG genre? I love it. I think it's great. I think getting to see people like compare our game to things like Path of Exile, Diablo, like Grim Dawn, Lost Ark now that it's coming to NA. There's so many of these really high caliber games that people are comparing us to, and it's fantastic to just be in the same conversation with them, really, which is awesome. Really, coming from PoE, the crafting system has only highs for me, though even it is a bit too strong in the beginning. It does give a lot of power early on, and that is part of the reason why we made it harder to craft up to level, like from white items crafting. We also, like, the lows in the crafting system are fracturing items, and fracturing items. So like, oh, I can do this real quick. Boom, flip me over here. And so like taking an item here, and like it's got 82% chance to upgrade right now. If I do 4 attempts at 82% chance to upgrade, there's a better than even odds chance that it will fracture. It's more likely to fracture than not if I do 4 82s in a row. And and you get this situation where like frequently an item will will break. Of course, I'm like disproving myself right now. Oh my god. Okay, well, ignoring with what just happened, I guess that's the opposite of it right there. It can happen a lot. It's actually not a bad item. It can happen a lot where you end up fracturing items in that 80%, where it feels like it should be a sure thing, so to speak. Flip me back. I like being on the left. Are enemy skills hitboxes using the center or a hitbox or the outer edge of the hitboxes? They are like for ground. If it's a hit, oh, even if it's a dot, it calculates the edge. It's using the edge. Sometimes it will use imprecise measurements. So it'll use like Manhattan distance instead of a direct vector 3 distance, and that is in order to make the checks more efficient, and especially does that on really large range things. So if an AoE is humongous and it could be getting 80 things in it, doing Manhattan distance checks will be dramatically more efficient than proper float checks. Especially when it's doing them to hundreds of things every frame type thing. Oh, but you still get hit. Yeah, it does use the edge. If a little bit of you is in it, you'll get hit. Like here, I should... Oh, maybe not. Yeah, wasn't quite in it apparently. We try to generally make the ground, and I'm scared to even say this, but we try to make the ground targeted AoEs that are like the telegraphs be a tiny bit bigger than what's actually going to hit it, just a smidgen, so that if there's ever like oh, I was totally out of it moment, it's better to be wrong on the side of like in the player's favor, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's I wouldn't use that as part of a strategy though, because it's usually a very small difference in it. If there's one specific AoE that you're finding you're having problems with, I would try and get a screenshot of it and post a bug report. Exiled Traveler. Hi guys, any idea if we can get in the future custom minimap icon for filtered exalted items? We've actually been talking about this. It's probably not something we're planning on doing right away. We would love to do it. There's a lot of problems with it, and we've got to work those out first. Like design problems. Functionally, we can do it. Any news on Warlock? Nope. Got nothing for you. It's we are trying to bring up some skills that are less quality, less high quality than the new skills coming out first, in order to make that experience of people who do join the game and play the game a positive first experience. Because if someone happens to pick a bunch of skills that are really old, it cannot be a positive first experience. And they might not stick around to try another class or another skill set that is more polished, you know? So we really want to get everything that's available now feeling really good, and that includes finishing up some missing skills for classes that need them still. For example, Sentinel's getting a lot of love next patch. We're removing 3 skills. But don't worry, they shall be replaced. Since you're fixing skills, fix my infernal shade. Never. Maybe I think there's some. It might have been Dread Shade that we actually made some changes to. Can't remember. Is there any way we can get an option to turn on a visual for our hitboxes then? No. Are there any plans to increase the tick rate of dot damage to make them less bursty or more consistent dot? Actually, it is less bursty than it seems. Lots of dots pool the damage numbers and show them all at once in order to make less visual noise on the screen and make the damage numbers slightly more efficient. Like, there's already a lot going on, but quite a few of the heavy dot skills will pool damage numbers. So it looks like you're doing one really big hit of X amount, but really you're doing 80 tiny hits of something, you know? I saw that question about disintegrate, and I think it's like every half or every quarter second that it's actually dealing damage, which is pretty frequent. The damage numbers might be restricted to every second type thing. I do love those guys. This enemy is one that we like. A lot of work went into that guy. I remember with like the rock and having it like fall to the ground after he dies and everything. It was a lot of work that went into that. That was a lot of new mechanics that were added to make that work. Sam did most of that, I think. Sam and Trisoki. Probably someone else too that I'm trying to remember, but I hope not. I haven't done it too many times, but I'm always afraid that when I like say like, oh, so and so did something that was great, and then it's the wrong person. I feel bad about that if I do it. Is there a particular reason why we can't get a hitbox visual then? If it uses the edge of our hitbox for enemy skills, it sucks that we just guesstimating where our hitbox ends. It's smaller than the character. The player's hitbox is smaller than the character. And it's the same for all classes. Ooh, I think. Should be the same for all classes. How excited are you for the next Diablo 3 patch? I don't know what's coming in the next Diablo 3 patch. I am sorry to say. I know it's right around the corner, and someone told me what it was a couple days ago. But I do not know what it is. I haven't played much Diablo 3 in a couple seasons. Might dip my toe back in if it's a cool mechanic, check it out, see what it's like. Come on, Zarek. You're so ugly. Were you always this ugly, man? What happened to you? Who did this to you? is the plans to add a bard class at some point, or considering it in the future? I mean, I'd be lying if I said it hadn't been tabled and discussed about, and like it maybe. Definitely not anytime soon. Got another unique item here. Oh, you're only joking about the D3 patch. Okay, makes me feel a little better. I know people are really excited about it. Like, I don't want to take anything away from that. It's like, it's still a game that lots of people have tons of fun playing. These are the fabled blood spires. Any plans for a free weekend with the next content releases? Have some friends that I think would like it but are hesitant. Free weekend's a tough thing to do. It's a really cool idea. I would say that's much more likely to happen. We don't have any plans for a free weekend to happen anytime soon. Part of... I guess part of why we've always had like a sticker price on the game is because we wanted to keep the I guess feedback that people are giving us as like people who are already invested in the game, at least emotionally in some way. But having a larger scale test when we're trying to test the scale of certain things might be a good time to do that sort of thing. We're a lot past that reason I just gave. Really, it's much less important now than it was like years ago. But yeah, I know there's a lot of people that are especially waiting for multiplayer to try it out. We know that that's going to be a big thing. A lot of people, I guess, are waiting to see like how multiplayer functions, what the reviews are on multiplayer specifically, because no one's been able to review that publicly yet. Yeah, we are very keenly aware that multiplayer is a very important part of the game, and it's something that people are excited about. How many languages will the game be available at launch? Will it be in Polish? I don't think Polish is on the we kind of categorized, I think, some languages into how quickly we want to add them. And I don't think Polish was in the first wave. But I could be wrong. A lot of it comes down to like translation difficulty, and what's available. I didn't even look to see what that was. What's available for translations? Minions deal 90% less poison damage, but have a 200% chance to poison on minion hit. That's pretty cool. I guess if you want to crank up your poison amounts from minions and then do a bunch of poison damage yourself. I don't remember this item. That's hilarious. Every once in a while one gets slipped in and I just don't even notice. Guaranteed Exalted. I'm in. Pump Up the Damage asks, are you devs aware that you can't use lunge at Lagon at all? It sucks to be going crit build using initiative on lunge, and that boss basically makes a large part of your boss bonus damage and armor unscalable. Yeah, we know there are still problems with Lagon in general. We're working on it. I will say that lunge will be dramatically different in the not too distant future, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Well, base functionality will be the same, so we still have to fix the problem. I thought we had something recently that let lunge work with Lagon. I guess it may not be fully done, but I thought I saw that patch note at some point. there were a lot of skills that weren't working right there, and I know the ones that were like completely killing builds, like minions just never attacking him, have been fixed. Grim Reaper TV, I do not know if that bug has been reported or not, or if it exists. If you think you see a bug, report it. Yeah. Are ballistas set to be rebalanced anytime soon? Not majorly, no. I'm sure they'll get... And that's the thing, is a lot of times we'll make changes to something that's, like, completely irrelevant to ballistas, or maybe not completely, but, like, just some passives that change, or maybe a new bow gets added, and because of the synergy that ballista has with those different things, it can change the overall balance of it. I think ballista's got some good uses in a few builds right now. Maybe not quite as well as we'd like it to be balanced, but any timelines for lost memories? No. Were the classes made with the intention of having certain classes better at dot or hit damage skills? Yes, definitely. Or is the intention to generally balance their capabilities, each class between the two? Also, are there any plans to buff to ailments? There's no major plans for ailment buffs in particular, no. And there are definitely certain classes that were designed to do things differently. I don't think the distinction between dot and hit damage is really a major one of them, because there are dot builds in all classes and there are hit builds in all classes, really. I think there are more ways to do dot builds in certain classes and more ways to do hit builds in certain classes. So for example, Sentinel has way more ways to do hit builds than Acolyte does, and Acolyte has way more ways to do dot builds than Mage does, you know? But I don't think the overall power of them really needs to be split by class. We like to change the way that they do them. So, like, for example, the go-to example that I always have here. Oh, look, one of the things that I did showed up. We don't really care about this one, unfortunately. It sucks. And that giant health is nice, but not even that giant. It's a low T6. All right. Womp womp. What is this one even? Yeah. Was I answering a question? I think I was done. I think I was done. Ooh. Passive. Finish that passives. Yes. Is that all of them? Is that more? No. Okay, sweet. Gotta figure out what passive I'm gonna work on next. Do I feel enemy body blocking is in a good spot? Yeah, like, I feel like you want to make a suggestion there. I don't think there's a problem with it personally. But, yeah. We're always looking for feedback. The best place to leave feedback is on the forums. Discord, Reddit, also great places. Do you have any teasers or sneak peeks for us this week? I mean, nothing major, really. Judd, if you're listening, toss me a few things if you want. But I can tease some stuff, I guess. I can do some talking teasers. There's been working very hard on Static Orb recently. It's coming together very nicely. I should have grabbed a video of what it looks like now. Reimer, can you ask Sam for a video of what Static Orb looks like now? Or find it in the Discord for me? Ooh, minion cold damage. Yeah. Yes, please. Are you going to change the different models of enemies, their animations? I mean, we're updating them all the time. There's very few that aren't custom ones anymore. For a long time, we were, like, there were quite a few enemy models that were not made by us. They were, like, asset purchases. But now I'm pretty sure almost, if not all, the enemies are, like, made by us directly. There might be like one or two that was like reskinned or something like that. I think the question quite often stems from a lack of variety in some zones. So we're still finishing off the campaign. Ooh, that could be good. While transformed. Oh, spell damage for Skeletal Mage. I should really unclick some of those, I think. So yeah, so like we're definitely working on the next chapter still, but once that's out, I can see very high likelihood of us going back and expanding the variety of enemies. If there's any that you think are really egregious offenders, you should get some screenshots and post some feedback on the forums. Pump up the damage. I mean, a lot of movement skills will get you out of that situation. It is part of the dangers and considerations of being in melee. There are very important technical reasons for body blocking happening. So it's likely not going to get removed. Yeah, show those boxes. Who's boss? Are you able to see specific stats like crit chance with certain skills at some point? Always hard to judge for me how high my crit chance really is with a skill. Yeah, we're working on that. We're revamping this. It'll show more detailed information with each skill. Yeah. You can do the math and find out from this page already. You do have to add in, I guess, the stuff from the tree if there is anything. Really liked the latest monolith change. Gave an opportunity to hunt stuff when I really want my character for my characters. Even that is not 100% success to get stats you want, but still like the increase in my chances. I don't have to problem to make new characters builds. Thank you, EHG. You are welcome. That's, I mean, exactly what we're going for with the changes to the monolith, and we'll continue to revise and update it, like add new types of timelines, add new types of rewards, like add new down the road we'll be like adding new types of things that can go here, new I guess adding new echoes and adding new timelines, maybe replacing, shuffling. It's all been designed to be very modular and be able to be changed as we go, so we can keep things fresh patch to patch. while not necessarily overhauling the system as a whole each time. Yeah. Do you and the team believe damaging ailments like Ignite, Believe, Poison are in a good place? I think so. That's the 4th time that's been asked this stream now, so maybe if you don't, you should leave some feedback on the forums, but I think they're fine, personally. Starting to question it myself. Who is responsible for the game's soundtrack? It is great. We have a lovely gentleman. I don't know if you want me to like share his personal info, but he's we've actually got a couple guys working on it now. One of them, I think there's a possibility might come on the stream at some point, so we'll see. Might get more info on it there. But yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. Oh, it's a Gyazo link. Yeah. I'll just paste it, Reimer. Here we go. Here's. I know it's not on my screen like I usually do, but here's a little teaser for a visual change to an ability coming. Guess I should just make sure that. Okay, we're good. Nothing else there. I will let him know that you like the soundtrack, though, so thank you very much. Is there a plan to increase customization of the item filter to include implicit rolls on items, for example, to hide any 5% endurance gloves? I don't know. I think so, probably eventually. The loot filter is always getting little updates and changes. It's tough because there's so many things that could go in there, and keeping it keeping it usable is really important, and it's possible to get too many options in there. It's already pretty chaotic. Please eventually have a merch store. Sure, we're working on it. It's in the works. It's happening. Because PoE only lets you get shirts via supporter packs, so I just buy bootleg merch. They miss out on sales. Yeah, we'll do our best to earn your merch sales properly. Is Fury Leap getting a rework soon? It seems to be behind the other classes' movement skills. I think that there's an important distinction that movement skills don't necessarily need to be exactly the same cross-class. I mean, we do want to avoid people feeling left behind based on the class they're playing. And I think that there's a few ways we can do that, one of which is making movement skills maximum potential relatively similar to each other. But I think that the heavy feeling that comes along with an ability like Fury Leap and a class like the Primalist is really good for it and really intentional. I know some of the other movement skills are getting a little bit of a reel in some cases, so the disparity, that gap closes a bit, not by improving the speed of one, but by kind of like dropping down the speed of some of the others a little bit. Not a ton, really. And I'm sure Fury Leap will get looked at some point. Probably 8.4, I would say, if we are going to, but not 8.3, I don't think. Just joined the stream. About how far off is 09? Yeah, so multiplayer is real tough, and I know people have really been wanting a lot more info on exactly how it's going and when it's gonna happen and all those sorts of things. And really, I would love to tell you everything that's happening. There was Judd left a post on Reddit recently that gave a ton of info. Someone took a screenshot of that post and reposted it on Reddit, so there's 2 posts now you can find. And I think that part of the reason we haven't really been giving exact details on when stuff's coming out, it has a lot to do with it's hard to gauge how close multiplayer is to actually coming out based on what's been going in recently. Unless you're like an action RPG multiplayer network engineer, you know, like if you're one of those dozen people in the world, it's really easy to tell. For everyone else, it's really super difficult to tell. And so sometimes I think giving a lot of information might be wildly misleading in both directions. So it's tough to really give a lot of that info out without like conclusions being drawn and false information being shared all over the place, and not maliciously or intentionally or anything like that. Just like, well, if this happened, then it's like it follows that this yada yada yada, and it might be very logical, and we don't want people to get the wrong impression in either direction of it being really far away or really close, you know, that sort of thing. And so it's tough to share details with exactly what's happening without being very misleading. But it's going great. Like multiplayer testing is going really well. We usually test on Wednesdays right now. So if you're in chat Wednesdays around the time the stream would normally end, you may see us talking. If you're here last Wednesday, you would have. And that's just the, like, everyone who's not working on multiplayer gets into test. There are a lot of bad guys here. Oh, we got a raiding party. Wrecked by Protoss. Oh, I'm sorry, friend. I used to play Protoss. Ooh. Welcome to the stream. We got 58 people coming in hot. Glad to have you here. A bunch of questions here that I'm slacking on. I'll try and answer some of these here. So I'm doing 100 squats at least. Tease his Spriggan form getting a real dash skill. I don't know. It's a lot's changing with them. A lot's changing with them. I don't know how to describe that any other way. Your overall mobility as a druid in being a transform-based skill class, I think will feel a lot more interesting and a lot more natural, both in the like thematic sense of nature and how it works and plays. If that makes any sense. I recently played Wolcen at my friend's house and was pleasantly surprised that it had a pause in offline solo play. Yep. Is there something you guys have ever considered when multiplayer goes live? Yeah, we have, definitely. We actually implemented something because there's a really easy way to do it. And we did implement it, and it just doesn't work in builds. It only works in the editor. But yeah, well, I'm sure we'll look into getting it working properly for in builds too. Alright, I got quests. I got both quests. Here we go. We're fighting the boss. Cosmetics shot will be similar to the one in PoE. There'll be a lot of similarities. There'll be some significant differences as well. We're like basically with everything, we try and just make our own game. and try not to specifically like say like, oh, they're doing it this way, so we're gonna do it this way type thing. We just try and make our own game, and we'll let the similarities and differences fall where they may type thing. But it will be there will be a lot of similarities in the sense that you'll be able to like buy cosmetic coins with real world money, just like every other cosmetic shop available in any other game. We'll be really strict about the types of things we add. So like there's a different, I'd say, like ethical burden that comes with how we do it because we are a sticker priced game and they're a free to play game. And we're very aware of that. So, for example, things like stash tabs. We're not going to put stash tabs in the cosmetic shop because it's not a cosmetic thing. And I know they call something, there's a little bit differently than a cosmetic shop, I think. So that distinction's irrelevant to them. But that's why we're calling it a cosmetic shop, because we only put cosmetics in it. With the team considering making some LE-themed stream assets, like camera borders, labels, etc. for people who stream LE to use. It'd make the free advertising look even better. Yeah, that's a great idea. Said by the person who wouldn't be doing it, because I'm not good at that sort of stuff. Yeah, it comes down to like time and availability for the people that would do it, but I think that's a great idea. A little streamer bundle pack. Maybe have like a deck, like the like a version where it's like left and right to just be built in, so you can quickly and easily just set up so your positioning's all nice and everything for it. I mean, I know a lot of streamers have their own setups and everything, but might be a nice one for people who are just getting into it as well. Are there any plans to have player hideouts or guild hideouts? So yes, short term, no. Long term, probably. That's not unlikely to happen. We really want to have the core functionality and gameplay in a really strong and solid spot before we start adding things like that. So we're being really careful to keep our scope under control, manageable, and awesome. I think it's more important. So I think it would be better to have 3 things that are 10 out of 10 awesome than 8 things that are 7 out of 10 awesome. And I think that's something that we're really trying to make sure happens, especially for small features like that. I mean, I say small features. It's a pretty big feature, really. Are we ready for this? Should we try and do a little crafting? I think basically everything's fractured. That's not. That's with a guardian. Yeah. Whoa. And we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna see what happens. What are our modifiers like right now? Maybe the boss doesn't count. We're going for it. Okay, play off this question. To play off this question, Twitch integrated armory so we could see the streamer's gear. Yeah, without having to ask them. Yeah, that'd be really great. I'd love to have that. It's the same, almost exactly the same thing as the player housing question. Like, when we get around to it.
I remember you, mortal.
Okay, it's not that damaging. I thought it was way worse. your worm away. Eek.
Let the void take you.
What headset do you use, and are you going directly over headset mic, or do you have a standalone mic on your desk? I have a Logitech, I think G35 headset that is crazy old and held together with duct tape and zap straps because I love it. I've had this exact same style of headset for the last like 7 headsets that I've had, and they've all broken in exactly the same way. And I'm sure I'll get another one soon. And it is just direct mic. But I mean, Logitech just, I think, bought like the Blue Snowball company. It might just be called Blue. Oh yeah, don't stand in that. The fire looks so shiny. I should stand in it, right? But yeah, I do quite like Logitech stuff.
Let the void take you.
Like SteelSeries too. Corsair, they make some good stuff too.
Call to us. Can't you hear it?
Okay.
Drown in darkness.
Oh, hand moves slightly on the keyboard, pressing the wrong buttons. That's how we do it.
All for nothing.
Oh, what are you doing, Mike? I want to look over and I see there was some ads and some questions, and I'm like, what is it? What is it? I don't want to die. Oh, I'm in the fire, and I wasn't teleporting out. Should I even bother killing this other idol? Let's just focus on Hearten. I'm very excited that everything you release for the game after release will be free, so I will be supporting you by buying cosmetic stuff. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we'll be, like, still having supporter packs if people want, but they're optional. Like, once people have bought the game, they bought the game. And we don't want to split the community through content. So we don't want to have situations where, okay, you've bought the first and third expansion, and your friend has bought the second and fourth expansion, and suddenly you guys can't play together with the things you want to do because, or just like your friend didn't buy the latest expansion because they didn't want to drop an extra $15 to dip their toe back in and see if they were having fun. They've been gone for 6 months or something. You know, we don't want situations like that to arise. Let's do prefix shards. They're always good. Bulwark of the Last Abyss. This is a cool item. I do remember that. Oh, I'm still on the other side, so you guys can't see it at all. There we go. This is a cool item. Yeah, this was Void Knight Shield that we made. That was the intent, at least. We don't have many Void Knight themed shields. Alright, back to some questions here. Do you have a personal favorite ARPG? I'm going to exclude Last Epoch from that question because, I mean, I'm unbelievably biased towards it. Other than Last Epoch, my favorite action RPG is Diablo 2. A lot of that has to do with the nostalgia factor, I think. I mean, it's an absolutely phenomenal game. But it's like, it's what I grew up playing. It's what introduced me to the genre. It's like one of the first major video games. Like, I started with Age of Empires 2 was like the first big computer game that I played a lot of. Well, we had a Commodore 64 originally, but first like real game that I got into was Age of Empires, and then Age of Empires 2. And Diablo 2 was right there with it. What am I doing here? Let's just start off going this way. Have some fun with it, you know? Kill a dragon. No big deal. We're dragon slayers here. But one of the things that's really kept me with Diablo 2 is, like, still is my favorite, I think. There's a lot of the mods that have come out. Path of Diablo, so good. Project Diablo 2, so good. It was another one that, like, really overhauled everything. That was neat, but it was just too much of a departure from the norm for me to really get hooked on it. Can't remember what that one was called, but it was really cool. The amount of love that people have put into it post-mortem, I want to say, but the game never really died in mods. It's just really incredible. Median XL, yeah, that's the one. Thank you, Random Namex, Random Namex, Random Namex, yeah, probably what it is, Random Namex, yeah. It's really small text. We're so bored. When can we see next patch? Give it a bit. We're working real hard on it. Working real hard. Does last Epoch development stop after TT Resurrected is released? I mean, I might get sick that week. No, I'm sure lots will still check it out. I'm really excited to try it. I really hope that once again that the mods will be functional with the. I know they said they would be, but you never know. Do Orbis unique items? Oh, question here. Increased drop chance with higher corruption. I know there's been a lot of speculation as to how the mechanic works exactly, and I'm not going to give you all the details on how it works exactly. But there are definite changes to drop calculations based on how you've chosen to progress the game thus far. Which I think is really evident by the experimentation people have done so far. Is it okay to ask what kind of function you have in your studio? Absolutely. You can ask me all sorts of questions about that. I am a senior developer, so I've been with the team since not day one, but like let's say day 80, maybe a little more, maybe day 100. So I've been around for quite a while. Yeah. I do a lot of. I'm one of the coders, so I spend a lot of time looking at text files. I do a lot of work on skill development, and like both in design and the design process, especially with skills, is very collaborative. There's a lot of us that work on that, so I don't want you to think that that's like the design decisions are all me. They're far from that, actually. And there's a ton of talented people that work on that a lot. I do a lot of work on the UI stuff, so like not designing it, but hooking it up and making it work nice. And I'm far from the only person that does that too. Like for example, I built the stash tab system, and then a different developer built the loot filter system. UI stuff, and like there's, yeah. A lot of bug fixing stuff as well. Last Epoch Con when? Well, definitely after the pandemic's over. At least. And after the game's out as well. At least. But it's, I mean, this is not the first time I've had that question. I don't know if it was from you, Quiet, last time too. But it's cool that people like want to get together and see each other. And I always think that's one of the greatest things about games is when they actually bring people together. Like, I've got friends that I met playing WoW, and friends that I met playing Call of Duty, and friends that I met playing like. Well, I haven't talked to some of them in forever, but Guild Wars 1 as well. You know? I think that's a really cool thing about games. And we do intend to go back to conventions. Oh, yeah. Throat's getting dry there. We do intend to go back to conventions. That looks so creepy. I got an image to share. It's nothing major, but little update for our I'm not showing that one. Little update for the Sentinel base character model. Yeah, you met friends playing League of Legends. Yeah, that's one of the fantastic things. Judd, stop sending me these. Oh my god. Really distracting. That's one of the great things about games is bringing people together. So here's on the right's what we have now. It's probably around there somewhere. And on the left is what's coming. So a little, a few changes here and there, you know. Not really a major overhaul, but you know, little improvements. I do really like the difference. It's a lot of them are subtle differences, and just the quality of the models is getting better. So this is the sort of thing that I was talking about on answering someone's question on Reddit this morning, and a lot of the changes that we do are like incremental changes on. There's a question about adding gear into the game and does it change the way your character looks, and it's the same thing here. Like we're constantly changing these little things. And when we find something that's like lagging behind, we'll update it a bit, or if it's really far behind, we'll just replace it, and all those sorts of things are getting worked on. Judd, you know I love Terry Crews. Come on. He's just sending me gifts of... gotta change that chat to something else. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, Judd. I'm excited to see the race coming up next weekend. I saw the notice for the race, and I have no idea how anyone's going to kill Orbis. He's not even in the game. No, just... Yes, I'm excited. I think it's going to be cool. Alright, we got another question here that I missed. Going back, do you feel like the kill threshold passives are in a good spot? For example, the Void Knight has 5-point passive that says 15% melee kill threshold, which is basically 15% more damage. That seems insane from a 5-point node that's early on in the skill tree, especially with a lot of enemies having buffs where they're below certain HP thresholds make the passive even better. Yeah, it is different than 15% more damage because it doesn't even it doesn't take effect. Like if they get hit down to 14% health and then hit with it, it's only 14% more damage. So like, it has much more effect on larger enemies and much less effect on hordes of smaller enemies. So it's definitely a situational buff, not just a flat 15% more damage. But it is very good, I think, in some situations. And I think having... I think it scales differently than just 15% more damage as well. And I think abilities that scale differently throughout the game I think it's a cool thing. And I think it's an interesting decision of, I mean, it's less interesting when you can respec, which I know you can. But do I take the thing that's better now but will be worse later and fall off, or do I take the thing that's better later but worse now and will ramp up to it? And while it is very similar to 15% more damage, I think it is a little bit more interesting because there is that difference from level to level. There's that difference in the enemies you're fighting. Like it's a little bit different than just 15% more damage. So I think it's better than 15% more damage because it's more interesting. How many people work in your studio? Quite a few now. I don't know the exact number. But yeah, we've managed to bring on some people to do a lot of things that we couldn't do before, which is fantastic. Really expand the art pipeline, which has been wonderful. Especially, that's been really great. Just getting more of it. Like, we've always had fantastic artists, but just more fantastic artists is really great. I ran right past the thing, didn't I? That was totally intentional. I was just clearing out the area so I wouldn't have to worry about them in a fight later. Just being cautious, you know, playing, you know. Oh, I'm not deathless. Never mind. Any plans to rework the Forge Guard? There's not completely, but the Sentinel overall is getting quite a few changes. Especially the heavier skills are getting looked at a lot. So Judgment, Forge Strike, Erasing Strike, maybe something else. They're getting looked at and reworked a little bit here and there. Bunch of new passive changes. Yeah. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Alright, we've gotten all of the ones we were looking at before. Increased minion elemental damage and increased minion necrotic damage. Those are both very useful stats to us. That might be worth taking for us, actually. We're not casting it much, but we might later. I'm gonna finish taking these passives first, I think. Jed, you managed to get songs stuck in my head. Thank you very much. Is the picture on the right side of the mana pool represent Orbis? Maybe. There's another picture over here that you can't really see because I'm in the way. That might be different from one another. You know, might represent dichotomy. The one on the left's Eterra, if you didn't notice. Sorry. Hey, just want to say thanks for working on a game I've already spent 450 hours on. Thank you for playing our game for 450 hours. That's awesome. I hope you enjoyed the whole time. I'm going to go ahead and assume you enjoyed at least most of it because you played that long. If not, I'm so sorry. Uh, how long have you played LE4? I mean, it's kind of a weird question. I've been playing it for as long as it's existed, really. I mean, let's go find out. I'll tell you the exact date. Take me a second. It's one of like 3 saved posts I have on Reddit. Tuesday, August 1st, 2017 at 10 a.m. my time was when I first messaged Judd. So like a few days after that. We'll give it August 10th. I don't know. Really want to get some more crafting bases to work on here. I promise before the next stream I will have my loot filter sorted out so I can find some good bases to craft on. Oh, speak of the devil, a bone golem, 2 to volatile zombie though. We might switch to bone golem or try and rip the bone golem off that. Lightning elemental, zip zap kaboom. What will the falconer focus on? Ballistics. Falconer's gonna be really cool. Falconer's gonna focus on the falcon quite a lot. They're gonna have the ability to kind of do whatever they want. Right now, there's very little, and we tried to put in as much as we could, but there's a lot of like bow damage nodes and marksmen that are just completely useless to blade dancers, and there's a lot of like melee weapon damage stuff that's good in blade dancer but is useless to marksman. And I'm hoping that falconer will kind of bridge the gap a little bit, but be able to take it either direction, or throwing, or really focus on the falcon if they want. Like there's going to be a lot of options in there. That passive tree and all of those skill trees are not created yet, so I'm going off of things that I hope to get in there, not things that are in there, just to be clear. The base skills are made, though. Those are pretty cool. Those are pretty cool. I think you meant playtime hours. Oh, yeah, that's it's a lot more logical. Well, my Steam will tell you a very different story. I only have on Steam an embarrassingly small 98.1 hours of playtime as of this morning. But I mean, the vast majority of the time I'm playing, it's in the editor. I don't know why I'm looking at any of these. Nice quiver. Let's just get piles of gold. Who doesn't love piles of gold, right? Like, do you consider I just fixed a bug on the new static orb skill tree and I'm gonna test it and hop in for 5 minutes to check? Does that count as playtime? Because if it does, thousands of hours. If it doesn't, less thousands of hours. I actually have a bug right now with the new static orb skill tree that I was working on right before the patch. That is, I think I've got it figured out. Pretty sure I've got it working. I was like, that's why I was a tiny bit late starting the stream. Well, like starting the pre-show late. Stream started on time, but pre-show I usually start 5 minutes before. But it was because I was like, I can get this fixed. I can get this fixed. It was just so close, and it's not. I didn't get a chance to test it. Like I made the change that I think fixes it. Haven't tested it yet, and this whole time all I'm thinking about is just like, I wonder if that actually fixed it or not. I'm just gonna say it did. If I can get the bugs worked out, Wrecked by Protoss, the same guy, yes. If I can get the bugs worked out, yes. Even if I can't, yes. Do I have plans to add new character classes in the future? Yeah, I mean, basically anything, any axis of new content that you can think of, we probably have plans to one day add on to new skills, new classes, new item types, like base and subtypes, new skills. I don't know if I said that. New mastery classes, new base classes. Like we've considered them all, and we'd love to do them at some point. All of the stuff that's in the game is the result of us editing down all the thousands of ideas we've had to a manageable size. It's cool that guy like fell off the cliff. Do you know why no one makes open world ARPG games like Sacred 2? It's so much fun exploring the world in an ARPG gameplay. I think there's I think it's a different style of game. I do. I think it's actually a different genre as soon as you have that open world mechanic into it. And it's a really similar genre, but I think it's a little bit different. And I think it's the difference between this might be a bad example. But like, okay, kart racers like Mario Kart and Diddy Kong Racing, and I'm sure there's like 80,000 of them out there that I just don't know about. But kart racing games and like Forza, like realism racing games, they're both racing games and they're both really similar, but they're definitely different genres, right? Okay, I've been told to tell you about here's the wording of a node. Oh, my inventory's too full. Got room now. Only 72 others. I think Sacred 2 is a slightly different, just a little bit different genre. It's really similar, and I'd say it's in the same ballpark, but like maybe different subgenre or something. Yeah, Jed, I leaked Static Orb. I'm the worst. So here's a node. Static Orb now travels faster in an arcing trajectory rather than a straight line, but it no longer pulls or hits enemies until it explodes. It's actually the node that I'm struggling to fix right now. Because the arcing trajectory, instead of like looking nice, it's like shooting off into space and coming back. It's pretty funny, actually. Because I did the math wrong. But I fixed the math. Something they don't tell you, like half of programming is just math. So if you're ever planning on getting into it, be good at math first. And it's all the math that like everyone told you you'd never use it. Like linear algebra and like matrix operations and things like that. Oh, so useful. As someone who really likes the element of ice quite a bit, are there plans to add more ice abilities or passives and skill trees to morph skills to use it? Yes, there is. At least one skill that did not have an ice conversion before this next patch will be getting one. There's at least 2 more ice skills that aren't in the game yet. Not this patch, but will be eventually. There's probably more that I'm not thinking of. But yeah, things like that appear all the time, and sometimes it's not even where you expect it. So, for example, there was a quiver that got added, I think, last patch. Maybe it might be the patch after that lets puncture become a cold skill. I think it's a really cool item, and I think it enables an entirely different type of way to build puncture, really. Which I love. Love it. Question for you from Corey D. First time chat. Or anyone who happens to know, actually. But I was wondering, is there a reason why pets don't spawn in when you take a waypoint or town portal? Yes! It's not a reason that's very good, though. They seem to start at the beginning of the zone. They do. That'll be fixed. It's a bug, not a feature. Do you sometimes show stuff in the editor version of LE on stream? I used to. It was always lots of fun when Crate did this with Grim Dawn. Yeah. So I years ago actually, we used to stream, and I actually would just stream making skills, which was pretty cool. The process has changed a lot since then, and I probably won't do that again. Yeah. Sorry. Any chance of getting void damage on anything besides sentinels? Not before launch, likely. But there are more than one void themed mastery classes that we have ideated, and there's at least one other base class we've ideated that could theme into void skills. Not saying that that's going to happen or when any of that might happen if it does, but you know, we're not giving Void Knight the 100% hard lock. It's the only Void class in the game post launch, but at launch it will be. Mike, so here on Reddit on Steam, oh yeah. Dexter, just so you know, we do have a rule on our Discord: don't ping the devs. You pinged me 3 times in like 5 minutes the other day. Maybe it wasn't you, because someone else just posted the same thing. Do we have a copy pasta about this Amish village now? Oh god. Was this a copy pasta that I didn't know about initially? What is the studio's opinion on permanent versus temporary minions? Would end up like PoE not allowing nearly any minions that are needed for the walking simulator playstyle. Yeah, there's the whole walking simulator. I think if there's, we know that's a type of gameplay that people do enjoy. If there's a playstyle that can achieve the exact same endgame potential with only ever walking as a build that requires like considerable moment-to-moment gameplay decisions and I would argue more skill, likely there needs to be a little bit of reward for doing something other than just walking. And I don't want to make that sound too extreme, but you know, I'm a little concerned about the literally walking simulator type builds. being as good, if not even better than the ones that aren't like that. Having said that, we have seen a fair bit of feedback recently about the necromancer, specifically their like minion hordes being geared more towards temporary minions. And I mean, with the addition recently of volatile zombie, a temporary minion, and dreadshade, something that makes your permanent minions into temporary minions, I can see how that trend is going that way, definitely. And we've made some small changes to kind of bring that direction, I would say, like, design direction back from where it was, or where it was going at least, because it wasn't really representative of what we want overall. We do love the like the horde gameplay style, like, yeah, give me that horde, you know. And I think having 20 permanent minions is way healthier than having 100 wraiths. If that makes any sense. Or like 100 temporary minions. I'd rather have 20 temporary than 100 permanent. No, other way around. 20 permanent rather than 100 temporary. Anyways, I guess what I'm saying is it's not exactly where we want it right now, and we're making a few changes to shift it a little bit more towards the permanent style being more accessible. If that makes any sense. I hope. You want an Amish class in the game? I don't think that's very appealing to a large range of our demographic at this time. Sorry. Be really good at putting up barns. What do you think about Stormcrow's power level and quality of life of the nodes that require you to melee for a bonus? I really like them. I think it's interesting. I think that Primalist is a lot of focus around being in there and fighting with your minions. I think that's why there's a lot of nodes that show up like that. Hey man, first time in the stream. Exciting. Thanks. Is there any kind of PvP that's being thought about? Yeah, it's a bit on the back burner right now, I would say. But PvP is a lot of fun. A lot of us really enjoy it. It's something that I want to play in this game myself, so like it will not go completely undeveloped. Who knows what it's going to look like, or how it's going to work, or where it's going to show up. One thing I can say is we're not planning on having a feature where you can just be like, party, hostile, I'm fighting you now just in the middle of nowhere, even though I'm 80 levels ahead of you, and oh, you're dead, too bad. We're not planning on adding that. Which, for the record, I think works fantastic in Diablo 2 because of the overall aesthetic and design that goes with it. It's just not what we're doing for ourselves. I did always love those moments where like some jerk just shows up and starts killing everyone, and someone's like, okay, hold my beer, and they show up with their character that's even stronger, and then someone else shows up with another character that's even stronger, and it just turns into this like game that was supposed to be about getting through Act 1 on normal, turns into just this like level 95 plus slugfest. Hilarious. It's always best when the guy that started it really gets what's coming to him, you know? Are there any plans to extend the online leaderboards beyond 100 players again? Yep. If you can or have, can you comment on what kind of playstyles you're going for with the Warlock subclass? I think we haven't done a ton. We've got a raiding party, Empyrean Gaming 421. Thank you very much. Wow, that's a big raiding party we got coming in. Apparently, I've been, it's been cool to watch. You've been streaming us a ton recently. It's been awesome. So thanks to the raiding party. Glad, I assume you're having fun. So welcome. Welcome everyone from Empyrean Stream. Come join us. If you have any questions, please feel free to @ me in chat and bring bring me your questions. I'll do my best to answer them all. I'm a little bit behind here. I'm trying to catch up. You're going to add corpses, searchable stones in the game, little things that make you happy. Yeah, there's already things like that, but expanding that to make it more variety, definitely. You're welcome. Elo Heals, you're welcome. There you go. Do you have any idea of having an optional super boss at the very end of the game that requires almost best in slot gear to kill? Oh yeah, that's I find it funny when people say that they're going to kill Orvis. Mike, serious question, of everything we've seen so far in the game, what is something you personally have done that you're most proud of in the game? Oh, that's hard to say. Almost nothing I've done in the game is like only me. So like it's hard to, I guess, take credit for something specifically, because like so many things, like it's a lot of people working together. It's not like, oh, this is something that I put in on my own. But like of the things that I've worked on that I'm most proud of, I would say they're skills, and I don't know which skill would be the one that's like, oh, that's the one. It's a great question though. I do love it. I mean, yeah, there's so many skills. The rogue, I think the rogue. That's it. Just like that whole patch. There's a lot of us all working together on it, but we really pushed hard, and we got more skills done in that patch than any other before it, and since, or probably will again. Yeah. Just gonna say the rogue. The rogue skills, even though there's like so many people, like I really don't want to diminish all the work that everyone else did on that at all. Give me that gold. Any chance the Werebear staff node survived the Druid rework? I don't think so. Maybe? There was one staff node, I think, still. Oh no, of course there are staff nodes still. I'm sorry. It's really different though. Like I can't emphasize enough how different the Druid transform is. Like we threw out 95% of the nodes. Some of them are basic enough that they've stuck around effectively. Are you going to add corpses? Yes, I already answered that. Any new secrets being added next patch? Tinfoil hat needs some more things to find. I mean, I can ask Rick to slap some things in for you if you want. If you really want to get crazy with it. Have you tried dealing damage through Pyre Golem? Not personally, not recently. I'm sure at some point I did. My horde died. How could you let that happen? Thanks, Mike. I do enjoy talking to you on Fridays. Look forward to it. Actually, you are one of the few devs who are brave enough to face the public. That's the only reason I tease you, because you're fun to talk too much. Love, brother. Glad you're having fun. I mean, you guys go pretty easy on me in here, I will say. I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. Are you planning... Oh, here we go. Are you planning to improve visuals, like how skills look, overall graphics? We're always improving that, for sure, yeah. Like, there's small change... Like, I showed a little bit earlier in the stream. If you missed it, check out the VOD. We're changing the base Sentinel model. Just reskinned. Looks better, looks nicer. It's like all sorts of little things like that. There's always tons of little things that are getting added in here and there that just make things always a little bit better. I linked a GIF earlier of Static Orb. I think it looks way cooler than the old Static Orb. It's a ton more fun to play. I think Static Orb before was a little too slow, too clunky. Now it's very active, very much more aggressive, more designed in that like long range sorcerer nuke spell. I really like it. It's got way more interesting nodes on it. Yeah. More secrets, please. I know that there's secrets that Rick had plans for that he wanted to wait until like launch to put in. So I like, you know, give it some time. Give it some time. I feel like the majority of my runes of shattering comes specifically from purchasing them from the vendor, making it something that I feel like I have to constantly check every 10 minutes. Ruins the flavor of mapping. Is this by design? Not really. It was meant to augment your runes because it's such a core functionality for crafting. The availability and balance of runes, glyphs, and affixes will be looked at if we implement the crafting changes we've been hinting at for the last year. Because they will all be affected. Any future plans make the unique armor representing in-game. The 2D art is amazing, but for example, when I put this helmet on, my Primalist looks like a normal leather cap. It was kind of sad. Yeah, and this is the sort of thing I was saying earlier about unique items. It's always improving. We're always adding in new stuff. We'll like the goal is to have every single piece of unique gear show up and look like it's supposed to look in game, and have it be awesome. Like it's just a matter of time. Who knows when it'll happen, but we're always adding things like this. We're always adding. Right now, we're in the middle of overhauling axes. So axes are getting new models right now. But we're always adding all sorts of stuff like that. Did you at least like the effort of the meme I created for you? I can link it if you'd like. I've seen it. Yes, I did like the effort. I mean, that's how you know you've made it right when you get memes made of you, right? Isn't that what it is? That's the benchmark these days? Was there ever an idea suggested to implement in game where you had strong feeling against it? Oh yeah, we've we have very heated debates all the time about implementation on features, and sometimes I'm really pushing something and someone else is pushing back on it, and we have a lot of really open discussions about these sorts of things, and I think the fact that we've been able to have such discussions is what's really driven the quality level of the game as we've gone. Sorry about that. Get a little bit hoarse. I'm a wee little horse. Will EQ Werebear still be a thing next patch? What's so bad about it? Too much DPS tanking his speed? I think it's I'm personally not a huge fan of it, mostly because it's I don't know, it's just so like spammy of I don't know what it is really. I've tried it out and I was like, there doesn't really seem to be any major gameplay considerations going into as this is happening. This didn't feel that way to me. I don't know. A lot of it's getting changed, and it's not specifically to remove that, but it will end up removing a lot of things that do that, not completely destroying it, though, I don't think. Yeah. Judd emotes when? Soon, I hope. Will the last act be expanded? No, but it's not the last act. And you have plans to add various side activities to the game? Yeah, definitely. the last act that's in the game right now is not the last act. The last act is pretty cool. I've kind of teased this, and I'm not one of the level designers or story creators, so I don't have too much of an inside scoop on exactly how it's playing out. But if I was a player and I was looking at the available map that we have, and I was looking at this going, okay, like, where are quests, how are they distributed throughout the different eras that we have? And I look at this era and I go, there's a sweet artwork and layout and everything done for this era, but there's like no zones there at all. My first thought would be like, well, they've got to add something, because that's just silly to have without it. But, you know, who knows? Game has fantastic UI UX features. Any plans to add better display of skill damage? It's hard to tell what has impact on your damage. Yeah, like that. Like we're gonna be expanding this to include specific skills in there. Yeah. Where am I going? Where am I even going? Huh? Auto pickup materials or pickup keybind, not likely. What was the wackiest idea that was tossed out? I don't know. There's I don't even know. I don't even know where to start with that. there's ridiculous ideas that people come up with as jokes all the time. Like, I don't even. And that's the thing is, like, so a few of them came to mind right then, and I'm like, I bet I could convince someone to let me put that in the game still. So I'm not gonna say it. Yeah, there's been some weird things. Quite often they get turned down because they don't fit the theme. So like we can't put like a hyperdimensional spaceship with laser cannons on it because it doesn't fit the overall theme and aesthetic, you know? I played your game more than 100 hours, like RPG elements and new mechanics from the last content patch a lot. The only thing that I have probs with are the level and world designs. It feels like it has no strict one style, but again, the game a lot. Solid feedback. Yeah, we're. I mean, there's a lot of like we really try to get a different feel out of each era. So we try to make it feel like it's the same land but in a different time, and like there's some really big gaps in the time here. Like there's 6,000 years, 6,008 years there. There's 1,015 years there. There's 285 years there, I think is what it said. And so there's like in some of those cases a lot of time has passed, and getting that feel to be distinct enough is important, I think. Even if you're physically going through the same space, if that makes any sense. So we try and do a lot. We try and do some storytelling with the, like with the set pieces and where you're located, and we try and use the all of the different things that can appear in the storytelling, because we know people don't like to read. Oh, Judd said it. We're planning 12 acts. Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say exactly that. Yes, we are planning 12 acts. Oh, there's a lot that I missed. I'm gonna skip some. I'm sorry if I skipped yours. Can we expect more ranged weapons in the future? I do dislike bows, but where's that? But would love to see crossbows, flintlock pistols, rifles. The pistol rifle thing, that would definitely be a post-launch thing if we did it. I know we're sort of like at that early or late medieval, early Renaissance type tech level where like flintlock pistols do start to show up. It's hard to say if we'll actually see them. So there's like the technology stagnates with the like the timeline because of what happened with the Emperor, and like then when the Void starts to take over, when the population gets decimated so much like that, technology improvements tend to grind to a halt. You know, like in Europe when plague hit, the technology improvements slowed down a lot, a lot. So who knows if they ever made it to any sort of black powder or anything. But it's possible. It's a time travel game after all. Do you guys watch Mythic Quest? I have watched Mythic Quest, yes. Is there a new season out? Because I saw someone else talking about it recently. There's a new season. I am pumped. I love those guys. The It's Always Sunny guys. So good. Charlie Day is... I think... people don't realize how, like, he's a writer first, really, and he's so good. So I had an idea. What if you implemented multiplayer? You have one player go back in time, one go to the future, one go to the present, and each of them have to coordinate. Say one person leaves a weapon, comes back to the future, upgrade buried, etc., or make a bridge for something in the future, stuff like that. Yeah, there's. We don't want to lock mechanics or events or quest progression or things like that behind being forced into multiplayer, so we still want the game to be single-player completable. That doesn't mean that we can't do things like this, but there needs to be a way to do it on your own as well. But yeah, almost exactly what you said has been pitched. Lots of times. Are there maybe plans to make shards and other item... No, auto pick up like coins. There are not plans for that. It worries me that someone who picked up the game a month ago to hear that some of the problems have been on the radar for a while, but haven't been changed due to some other change coming out sometime in the far future. Is there some tech reason why Rune's shattering drop rate hasn't been buffed, or is it like PoE where devs don't want to change it until it gets perfect solution instead of a good solution? No, I don't think that's... I don't think that's what it is at all. And I may have answered the question poorly. I think in the system that we have now, I actually think the rate that we get Runes of Shattering is pretty appropriate. It might be a little on the low side, but I don't think it's egregious yet, personally. And I could be wrong about that. But it's not a... We're not letting... what is it? There's a saying. Don't let great be the enemy of good, or something like that. Or don't let perfect be the enemy of... I can't remember what it is. But that is something that we've taken to heart and have made changes to try and... Oh my god. Okay, well that line just filled up. Whoop, whoop, this way. Whoop. Thank you, Boardman. Coming in hot. Wow. We're going to mute them, otherwise it's going to be ringing forever. But that is phenomenal. Thank you so much. I don't even know how many that was. There's just a giant list of them. 37 T1 subs to the community. Wow, that is... Oh! That was your plan all along, Boardman. I know it. Trying to get me killed. It almost worked, not this time. Oh. Wow, that's fantastic. You gifted a total of 60 subs to the channel. That is amazing. That is our goal exactly for probably more. I can't even see it. That number's so tiny. But that is our goal completed for charity gaming. So that is amazing. I think the vast majority of those were you. Or maybe it was last time, I can't remember. But that's super cool. Congratulations to anyone who just got that. I'm not going to read out all your names because there's if you haven't been around here for a while, Boardman's he does things like this sometimes, and it's freaking awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Wow, I completely forgot what I was saying or doing. I hope it wasn't anything important. Stash these away. Wow. Let's take a deep breath. We're right at the end of the stream. It is 5 o'clock. My throat's quite hoarse now. I think that also indicates I'm going to try and answer a couple more questions, and we'll call it a day. We're right at the end of a monolith. We did pretty well. We've got one quest ready. I might just get them all ready and do them all back to back. But I think next time we're going to take down the dragon. So that's pretty awesome. We might actually get all the way through the monolith on this one. Be cool to get to empowered. I will set up a loot filter for next time, and we'll actually get some good crafting in. I know we didn't get a chance to do much crafting this time, but we'll do some crafting because I know you guys like that. Well, at least I think you guys do. I like it. Question here: any plans to introduce more character customizations such as gender, race, hair options? I know gameplay comes first. Just curious. Yeah, this is another one of those things. Would love to do it. Don't have the time. We'll be doing it post-launch probably. There's a great thread that's died down. You might have to dig for it a little bit on our forums, but there's a ton of info in there. We'd love to. Yeah. Rune of Shattering Dropper is what you're talking about. Yeah, it might be possible. Yeah. I think I said most of what I wanted to say there. I think part of it is we were kind of considering getting the crafting changes in last patch. Time got away from us a little bit on that. Any plans of making Boardman 21 a secret boss or something like that? Well, he's got his own set in the game. He's the only person that has a set in the game right now. It's a pretty sweet set, actually. I've probably got most of it. That's not part of it. It's a chest, a weapon. I spent so long working on it. I should know exactly what it is. Not Last Bear. No, that's Hellfire Still. I must have it in here somewhere. It's a pretty shaman themed set. There's the weapon. This is one of the first uniques to get like unique weapon to actually get a unique model, and I just love it. It's a stick. It's a plank, and it's just fantastic. It's got the little like lightning cut. Like it's a stick that's been hit by lightning. It's cool. I like it a lot. You can see the stats on it there. Do you mean died the dragon? Probably. Could you tell us shortly about something league seasons, multiplayer trading plans? Yeah, like we're doing it. That's the shortest thing I can tell you about it. I can't give you details exactly on how all that's going to work right now, but we're, like I said before, we make our own game, and so a lot of things will be really similar to the way Path of Exile does them because they do all those things really well. But we're doing it our own way, and so that includes everything in that list there, really. But we will be doing cycles is what we're going to call them, where we'll introduce new content. We'll have an optional ladder reset, so people can still play their old characters on like a standard style league like PoE does as well, because we know some people don't like to reset, but I love it. All right, what do you guys think the winning skill for the race next week? Kind of want to say something ridiculous so that someone tries to do it and make it work, but I mean, I'm going to say lunge is going to be in there. Is it a single skill? Maybe I didn't read the race properly. All right. Will timeline bosses gain pools of skills like the Shade of Oribus has now? We've talked about it, especially in empowered versions. It's a lot of work to do, but I think it's really cool. I think more likely we'd see like empowered versions getting new mechanics rather than having pools, because that's kind of a unique mechanic to the Shade of Oribus fight. That's like what makes that fight unique, is the fact that the mechanics are always changing. But we might see some other bosses do it eventually. We'll see. All right, I think that's about all the time we've got for today. You have all been phenomenal.